Hi, everyone. Thanks very much for joining us again today. I'm here with one of our South Africa program alumni. Abby, do you want to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Abbey Hickey. I'm a junior at Indiana University, and I studied with SIT in Durban, South Africa last spring in a program, Community Health and Social Policy. And now I'm back at school, and I'm studying international studies with a focus in human rights and health. And additionally, I study Swahili, which is an African language.
Ah, Swahili. That's not a South African language, but it's a
No,
wonderful
no,
language.
but it helped me with the Zulu, learning Zulu there. So it was
Ah,
beneficial.
that's awesome. And it's such a big language in East Africa, so it is definitely something that will be beneficial for you in the future.
Oh, thank you.
So now, just jumping right into the questions, what is the main reason you chose your SIT program there in Durban?
Well, I was a freshman when I found the program, and I looked for the program because it had a number of interests, and I loved what I was studying. I started off in international studies, but I didn't have a clear idea of what I could do with it. And so I knew I needed to go somewhere where I could be engaged and exposed to real life opportunities and real life potential jobs and things like that. And I also wanted to travel so badly. I picked South Africa because I had known a little bit of its history and I thought it was inspiring and diverse. And Nelson Mandela is just an inspiring individual in himself. And so that was a big appeal to go where he was. And then I read up on the Community Health and Social Policy program, and what really grabbed my attention was the immersion experiences. So they noted going to NGOs and going to schools and going to hospitals and truly seeing what's there and seeing what opportunities are there. And so that's why I chose SIT.
Thanks very much. Had you ever experienced, or had you ever had an opportunity with experiential learning before?
Never, never have I, and that was absolutely a key to the success of the program for me, and it was so enjoyable because of that.
I've heard that quite a bit, and it always makes me very happy to hear that. So now the next question here, what key skills do you think you gained on your SIT program there in Durban?
Definitely numerous skills. The first one being adaptability, because that was something I always thought I had. But through practice, when you're there, you're going from a number of different locations and you're learning about subjects you've never really learned before and places you've never been. And so through practice, I really became more adaptable, which has definitely shown recently, even at home. Furthermore, critical analysis and precision in communication. When I'm in class now, I can really see that the assignments that I did last spring have impacted the way that I talk in class or the way I engage with professors, and I just feel it's at a level that it wasn't at before. And then an overall higher understanding in a couple different ways, a higher understanding of the world, because going to South Africa really exposed me to the United States, which I didn't expect. But when you leave where you're from, you see what it's not and you see what it is. So I really enjoyed that, learning about South Africa and home at the same time. And then just a higher understanding because I got to talk to professors and doctors and patients while I was there. And that was an opportunity that I didn't expect, but has definitely stuck with me in my knowledge.
It sounds like you learned quite a bit in that
Absolutely.
semester.
Absolutely.
And now I'm going to make you choose a bit.
Oh,
If
no.
you could name one thing out of all of that, or one thing that you learned on the SIT program that you couldn't have learned anywhere else, what would it have been?
Oh, it's so difficult because I want to pick two. If I have to pick
Okay, I'll
one,
let you pick two.
okay. Well, I had the opportunity to work at an NGO called Refugee Social Services while I was abroad for my ISP. And so working there, I learned with direct contact with refugees just about their livelihoods and what they had access to and what they didn't. And I don't think I would have been exposed to that here. The other thing that I really learned about was, it sounds a little cliche, but it's very honest. I learned a lot about myself because I learned a lot about the abilities that I didn't know that I had that kind of came through once I wasn't in the States. And I learned about where my natural passions were. So that really shone through at Refugee Social Services. And like this growth is extremely like apparent to me. Like I feel like a different person, still myself, but like I just feel like I've really grown since the past semester, and I really am very grateful for that.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you feel like you were so impacted on the program. That's
Yes.
wonderful to hear. Now, this one, I am not going to let you pick two. You have
Okay.
to pick one.
Okay.
What was your favorite aspect of the program?
I would have to say the homestay was my favorite aspect of the program. We, I think, had a total of 5, but I liked them all, and I'm glad that I got to do. They each were a little different. My absolute favorite, though, was in Cato Manor outside of Durban, and I became very close with we all became close with the neighborhood and our families, and I still am in contact with a number of people living there. I call them my brothers, and I mean it. They're like my best friends, and they're still my best friends. And nervous at first, but those nerves went away quickly, and once they went away, they were gone for good. And it was some of the best, I think, 5 weeks, probably of my life. It was wonderful. I love the homestay.
That is absolutely wonderful to hear. And with South African culture, you're always going to be welcome back.
Oh yeah, they're very welcoming.
So, as you know, SIT programs, we pride ourselves on keeping it small and really immersive, but at the same time, that doesn't get our name out there very much. So, if you come across someone who hasn't heard of SIT Study Abroad, how would you describe it to them?
Well, I would probably say, well, I'd say it's a wonderful study abroad institution. They have like a diverse set of themes and subjects you can study across the entire globe. And they really focus on making those cross-cultural connections with the experiential education. You become really connected with where you are, and it really sticks with you because of that. We were in the classroom, but we also were out and about and saw so many things. But overall, I would describe it as an opportunity that was challenging, encouraging, but exciting all at once.
Wow. Okay. So I couldn't have put it better myself. Now, as we get to the last question today, have you pursued continuing studies on the program theme or the location of South Africa or Africa in general? It sounded like you touched on that a little bit at the beginning of this conversation, but I just wanted to see if you could elaborate on that a bit.
Definitely. I received so much closure from going on the trip because I really did pick a major that I feel confident in now, and I do see the opportunities for the future. So I'm studying international studies. I'm very interested in either pursuing a master's in social work or a master's in public health, but I would love to work for organizations like Refugee Social Services in Durban, here or abroad. And so because of my experience abroad, I now have like the education to talk about that with professors. Or there was a visiting professor from South Africa about a month ago here, and we had a great conversation because of my experience, and I just feel much more engaged with my major because of it, and I do feel like everything what I learned I apply often in class.
That's so wonderful to hear, and it sounds like you're well on your way to applying for the Peace Corps too.
Oh, I have a sticker right here on my computer. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So that's the end of the questions today, but I always like to end these interviews with seeing if there's anything that you wish you knew when you were applying for SIT that you could just reach through and tell the students who may be watching this in the future.
There's one thing that sticks out specifically with the ISP. So when you apply for SIT, you do present an idea of what it might be. I would advise students to relax on that. Like present an idea of something that you care about and does have potential. But if you don't stick with that, that's totally fine, because what happened on our program is we all came in with ideas, but we were all inspired roughly halfway through the program about something that we had seen while we were there. So be active and be engaged, and be constantly thinking about what your idea could be, but also let it come to you in a sense, because there will be things that you can't predict right now that may really impact your ISP later. So I would have relaxed a little bit more on that.
It sounds like you must have a bug in my room or something. I tell people very often when they ask me
Thank you. Thank you so much.
questions. Yeah, thank you for taking some time today. I know students today have a very busy schedule, and I really appreciate the help that you gave
Oh, it's a little.
for perspective.
The screen has been a little funny, but I heard what you said, and I want to say thank you so much for talking to me. I'm happy to talk about it with students and with you, and it was a great opportunity, so people should know about it.
Excellent. Well, you have a good rest of your day then, Abby.
Thank you, Ian.